Alrighty, so it looks like we have a brand new boxing game in the works, this time by Claimer Uncut, a fellow content creator in the scene. And when you guys sent me this video right here and I heard Truth Bound, it kind of reminded me of a trailer that I saw a few months ago. I'm like, I know I've seen this before. And I remember at the time watching that trailer, I heard the voice of the narrator and I was like, dude, that sounds so much like Claimer Uncut. And now that I've seen that it's actually him making the video game, it's like everything's just coming full circle. So before we watch this video he uploaded yesterday, let's actually go back and watch the trailer just to kind of refresh our memory, and then we'll jump in and see what this game actually is about. So let's check out the trailer that was uploaded a few months ago.
A clever man, a smart man like yourself, puts his feelings aside, my love. My wife. Yes, the past, the lost head. He's no good for anyone.
He cannot shake his past.
If I can have a word with him.
He's a good man. He's a liability.
I know someone, my lady. It will be done. For the order. Yes, that is much better. You think I don't want this? You must punch back. This is not a game.
It is a game.
The long road to glory is brutal. Arrogance. Greed. Don't you give up now. No shortcuts.
That's a one
This ain't
powerful
just a
man.
fight, my love. One more is everything that leads to it.
Boom. 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 This part always made me laugh. Yeah, so it's pretty clear Claimer Uncut is making a video game. First of all, man, kudos, because it is not easy to try to make a video game, especially a game like a boxing game which has so many intricacies. So he uploaded a video yesterday, I guess, going through the entire process. So let's go ahead and watch that and see if we can get a better idea of what this game actually is.
I spent 298 days developing a boxing game to find out if one man can compete with a AAA monolith who many believe are suppressing the quality of combat games today. Can I lead a new movement, creating a game for
Also, real quick, I promise I'm going to get back to it. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm taking notes. I know the man is about to talk about a bunch of stuff. I want to make sure I take notes on what he's saying so that when the video is actually done, we can go back and talk about it, because I want to let it play all the way. So promise I will not pause it again, okay?
the people, by the people. This is Truth Bound.
Boom. I love the sound of the shots.
We are back. Today, we discuss the key features of my new boxing game, Truth Bound. Just 10 months in, one man. We'll discuss feinting, parrying, manual blocking, 10 variations of the jab. Not to mention that this is all part of a boxing survival RPG. Most of you know who I am, which means you know exactly why I'm making this game. So support the cause, link in the description. But first, let us address the elephant in the room. The undisputed community is on its last legs. What a big surprise. When you continue to buy and promote mediocre games, companies will not fix something which they consider not broken. Many of you, sadly, are still holding on to false hopes. So first, we must understand why we keep getting misled. Truth number one, you are a pawn of a corporate system called the hook model. Real gamers play the likes of Tekken and Street Fighter for the challenge of learning complex fighting systems, whereas the everyman buys Undisputed to live vicariously through their favorite fighter. That is the community's biggest downfall. These games are nothing but digital stores, created for the sole purpose of selling you fighter DLC, and the cycle never ends. Unless, of course, we understand the traps we keep falling for. Trap number one, motion capture is a lie. This is an 18-year-old trailer, THQ's first UFC game. Motion capture was perfect 18 years ago, but a final game could not look like this because unedited motion capture would result in a slow-paced, unresponsive responsive game. Case
Correct.
in point, Undisputed's footwork looks fantastic. But it
Correct.
takes 2 seconds to change direction.
Yep.
And you often feel like you're not in control of the fighter. UFC 5's movement looks janky, but it's a far more responsive game. Our community tend to celebrate illusions over authenticity, and this is a prime example. Ragdoll physics cannot be used in an online competitive game.
Correct.
Indie games using this feature are lying to you. AAA games do not use this for good reason. Physics are unpredictable, so
Correct.
even if both computers remain in sync, the results will always be different. Truthbound uses traditional proven methods used in some of the greatest combat games ever made. Why don't companies use these methods now? Because it takes time, and time is money. Movement is fully deterministic, kinematic, and responsive. It takes
Correct.
less than a second to change direction,
Correct.
whilst still maintaining fluid movement. That
Correct.
includes circling out at a faster pace to reposition yourself, as well as dash, slide, and slip, fully driven by kinematics. With this foundation alone, you have full control over your distance management, which is the most important aspect of any combat game, but it goes further than that. Let's talk about hand fighting. With responsive movement, that means that punches are relatively easy to evade. You can set your punches up with feints. Feints allow you to reposition yourself, take your head off the center line, but most importantly, disrupt the rhythm of your opponent. In Truthbound, when you feint and post, you are subtly moving your feet to either keep yourself at range or find angles. These features carry weight for 3 reasons. Manual blocking means there is not an invisible force field which blocks every punch at every angle until the block health bar runs out. If someone's using the default block, I can still land the stiff jab up the middle. If your opponent is beating you with the jab, you can utilize the tight guard, but that leaves you open to hooks. However, truth be told, you'll rarely be using the block because it's so easy to step in and out of range. Let's talk about non-tracking punches. In layman's terms, punches do not track you like homing missiles. Your opponent will rotate to face you, but it isn't instant, and that is why subtle footwork and shot placement count. You see, when you land a jab, you're not just hitting the head, you're hitting the frontal lobe, the chin, your opponent's nose. Think of them as critical damage zones, which just like in real boxing, act as deterrents if your opponent decides to fight reckless. If you walk onto a well-timed punch, it could lead to a bloody nose, restricting your airflow, which would result in faster stamina loss and slower stamina recovery rate. Similar deterrents would apply to getting hit in the liver, the solar plexus. You get the drift. Now this doesn't force you to fight patiently, but it does encourage you to fight strategically, which leads me on to a feature that most AAA games avoid: position-based actions. Let's start with an advanced combination. Your opponent is getting the better of you with the step-in jab. You're able to duck under, but you're not close enough to throw meaningful shots. Alternatively, I attempt to shuffle left, but I'm still getting caught with the jab. And that is where position-based actions come into play. In this case, we duck under the jab, but with our head lowered, we transition to the shuffle. Note that this time, when we shuffle, our positioning is lower. Not only do we avoid the jab, but the momentum generated by the shuffle increases the damage of the rear body hook. You also have basic defensive scenarios. If you're leaning to the right, you should be able to throw a jab while still maintaining that angle. Now, none of this means that you can't be beaten by a novice. Just like in real boxing, the overhand set up by the jab always has the potential to shut your lights out. Not only that, you have the option to overcommit throwing swinging hooks, which can drain your stamina, leave you open to counters, but if they land, they can pay off. That is just the beginning. Let us now cover the system I've enjoyed working on the most, heavily inspired by The Warriors, Uli, and Def Jam Fight for New York. I have the blueprints in place to create a story-driven underground ecosystem. The concept as it stands: you're an office worker who finds himself in a compromising position, which the choice is a life behind bars or a new beginning, of which it is in your hands to make the most of it. You'll start from the very bottom, fighting for food and shelter. However, once you prove yourself to be of value, you'll gain opportunities to join and represent different factions. From here, you'll be able to take on side jobs to earn money, which will enable you to buy better quality food, access to better training equipment, as well as sleeping facilities. Your choices will affect your attributes before you go into a fight. If you end up with a broken orbital bone, that will carry with you into the next fight. Now, this functionality exists, but in the shape of blueprints. Eventually, every character in this small world will have their own backstory. This is where you, tired of the state of combat Uncut Games can get involved. If you see the potential in this game, I kindly ask that you support the cause. Join my Ko-fi, link in the description, so I can continue to work on the game without any distractions. And for those who support throughout the journey, we'll have a spot open for them to be an NPC in the game. What do you have to lose? Truthbound has the potential to be an online community where you and your friends can create your own factions, build and craft better facilities. Maybe you don't want to be a boxer, you can take on a different role, a trainer, a chef, a manager. I have the capabilities to create all of this, but I don't have time. A big thank you to the content creators who reacted to my first trailer. Just remember that I'm making this game for the community that you're a part of. Don't be petty. Don't forget to join the community Discord, link in the description.
Don't be petty. Yeah. So there you go, folks, man. Look, quite a bit here. Quite a bit to talk about. So, first of all, kudos. I already said this, but first, kudos to the man for trying to make a video game by himself. As someone who's currently studying animation, and I'm studying animation precisely for this purpose. You guys have asked me that before. I want to make my own game, but not like a game that I'm going to release and you guys buy and all that. I want to make one for myself because I want to make it as complex as I've dreamed of it to be, right? So as someone who's studying all that stuff right now, this is incredibly complicated. Really, really, really difficult shit he's doing right here, bro. And there's a lot of things that you're not even like noticing and paying attention to. That is so hard to get right. Like, you know, making your characters have rigid bodies so that fingers and arms don't phase through each other. You know, clothes not clipping, the foot actually planting on the mat when you're actually walking. How do you simulate blood, right? A lot of these systems, you have to like figure out a way to like fake it with like texture swapping, right? I guess you hit them, you switch the texture to, there's so many different tricks you gotta employ to actually get a video game, hell, to get an animation to look believable, yet let alone a video game. And that's why I'm so happy that this man is smart enough to not fall or go the route of, oh, we're gonna make things physics-based. Because I've said this to you guys multiple times. Is a very good reason why EA went the route that they did, why they moved away from the physics from UFC 2, because that stuff is just way too goddamn unpredictable. It sounds good when you hear it, but when you're making a video game like this, you need consistency. You do. And there's this thing where it's like, man, if we add too much consistency, it takes away from the realism because real life is not as consistent. Like, if I move my head left every single time my opponent throws a jab and it misses every single time, then that consistency takes away from realism. Okay, maybe it does. Maybe it does. But the most important thing in a video game is, are you having fun? Is it fun? And the one thing, at least for me, that takes the fun away from a combat-based game is when I don't have full control of my character. And that's why I was so freaking happy that this man is talking about how he wants things to be consistent in his game. And he references video games like, hold on, he talks about video games like Tekken, right? And then he went back and talked about UFC Undisputed 3, fantastic game as we all know. A lot of these games are built for consistency. Actions that you take are, you can rely on them, right? If I slip a shot on time, I know my counter is going to land because you're not doing this physics-based shit that, like, again, sounds good, but it's not as consistent. Something else he talked about is, you know, the ability to throw off angles. And I've made a video recently talking about a lot of this stuff. The video I made talking about why I really love UFC 5. I know you guys hate it, but I talked about how I love that game because of how responsive it is. And I'm so happy that Claimer Uncut mentioned that in his video. UFC 5 might not have the most realistic looking footwork, but there is no MMA game out there that is more responsive than that game. I will die on that hill. I will. And I'm so glad he's echoing that. He's including the ability to throw off angles, which means when you throw, like, let's say you slip and you throw a jab. In Undisputed Boxing right now, and this drives me up the wall. when you slip, a lot of times your head returns back to the center before you can then counter. That's not really the way it works most times in actual boxing. You can slip, maintain that angle, and fire your shot. And the fact that he's thinking about that and including that in his video game, that makes me really, really happy. This is looking very, very promising right now. Of course, we're not going to expect the sort of polish that you'll get from like a AAA company. It is one man doing it, so the animations are going to be janky. I don't know what he's doing for motion capture. Now, let's actually talk about that real quick. He said motion capture is a lie. And what he meant by that, not that motion capture is not beneficial. Motion capture absolutely is beneficial, and you can use mocap in your video games, but you can't use unedited mocap. It's completely different. You got to take that motion capture, you got to take it back, you got to clean it up and make sure that it is responsive, because if you don't, you're going to get what we got in Undisputed, where everything is clunky, everything feels unresponsive. Moves take 25,000 years to freaking register. It's just a mess. That's going to do it, though. Again, major props to Claimer Uncut. I am proud of you, bro. It looks pretty good. For one man, that looks really, really fucking good. And I wish you nothing but the best, okay? So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to leave a link to the man's channel below. I'm also going to leave a link to the Patreon. If you guys want to go ahead and support what the man is doing, go right ahead. And I'll see you boys later with a brand new one. As always, stay safe. Peace out. Have a good one.